Tony Khan is here. I've known him for a long time. He has every job in America and in England.
Well,
What are your let's do the job titles. What's your job title with Fulham? Let's start there.
the sporting director of football,
Jaguars,
chief football strategy officer,
AEW.
the CEO, chairman, head of creative,
Just add in a couple other things there.
president.
Can we give you a belt too?
No
belts. You're not
no
picking up a
belts.
belt. I want to talk about the Jaguars first. The optimism now, like with Liam Coen and going forward and fixing Trevor, like when you're sitting out, when you're hiring Liam, the number one priority is what?
I think that it was really, really great to be able to go out and talk to some of the top coaches in football, and I would love to have the continuity. But the nice thing about getting an opportunity to have a new start was being able to go out and talk to a lot of great people.
Yes.
And my dad ran a really thorough process, and I think he made a really great decision and picked somebody that everybody connected with through the process. And then when he came in to meet him in person, Liam Coen is such a strong conversation and such a great football mind from a great football family. And I think that when he came in person, my dad really wanted to make it clear to Liam that the connection, that like it's really important, because my dad is somebody that I think has always been known to be very patient and very methodical in his decision making, and not somebody that is somebody that is quick to pull a trigger. I think my dad's known for being a really savvy and smart businessman. And so going through this process, I think my dad connected with Liam. And then when Liam came in, I know that Trevor and really a good core of players at the Jaguars are excited about Liam and have connected with him, and he's building a great staff right now. And I think, as you've seen from the hires recently, I think it's a really good staff coming together, and I'm really excited about what's going on.
On a technical level, obviously job one of any coach, all 32 teams, is to figure out how the quarterback can get better. And that's the job description, right? With Trevor specifically, what do you want Liam Coen to unlock in his game? Because he's had a good career, but to get to the next level, going from good to great to good, whatever you want to call it, or great to elite, is the hardest thing to do. Leveling up is the hardest thing to do in football. What, on a technical level, needs to be unlocked that Liam can help with?
Well, I think there are a number of things. Like I said, we have a really strong core of players, and I think it's great to start with Trevor Lawrence. And I think he's a top quarterback, and he's played at a really high level. When you look at the advanced quarterbacking metrics, he's consistently ranked among the top quarterbacks. And I think right now we have the opportunity to continue to build around him. And we've got a fantastic coach, a coach who brings a different energy, a young energy. And I think somebody who's, like I said, he's from a great football family. And this past year, again, when talking about metrics, when you look at Tampa Bay and the way Tampa Bay offense came from the previous year over year improvement, it was historic to have that kind of a difference. And it comes down to a lot of people, but it's definitely apparent Liam Coen knows a lot about football and has some great expertise.
Last thing on the Jags, or in football in general, is you came in 2011, right?
At the end of 2012.
Yeah. Like Thanksgiving, maybe.
January. The announcement was January 2012.
Oh, really? Okay.
But the announcement, to your point, your very good memory, the announcement was late 2011, and there was a couple months of transition period where my dad's face was seen around the Jaguars and it was known, but then the actual handover was January of 2012. And Wayne Weaver finished out the 2011 season.
You came in and did install lots of analytic stuff. And I think in a lot of cases, a lot of that stuff just wasn't being done anywhere. It really wasn't. And I was in all 32 facilities at that point, and I could count on one hand the amount of teams that even cared. And I had a GM, and I won't put him on blast here, but I've said his name before, where this is 2017, and he knew I was into this stuff. And I sit down with him, and he goes, "Hey, you want to see our analytics department?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're looking at it." And it was just, he was making fun, he was just saying, "We don't have one. It's me, sitting and drinking a Bud Light, right?" And so I guess the big picture question is, mark the changes you've seen just in the NFL and embracing analytics, and what what kind of markers have stood out to you as far as its growth?
It's a fantastic, fantastic question. I think it's changed so much, and it's amazing to see the changes. And I think the Jaguars were early adapters, and right now we have a really robust analytics department. You're right that, like, in 2012, when I came in to start working at, on football analytics for the Jaguars, we built up a small department, but started doing work at a time when not a lot of people were doing that. And early on, I started working with a very small company. There was really two guys in Boston, which was called True Media Networks. And I ended up making a big investment there. And with those two guys, Rafe Anderson and Jeff Stern, we've really had a great opportunity with True Media Networks to build up a football analytics operation and build tools that the Jaguars and other people have been able to use to do a lot of research, and the research at the end and the way it's used all comes down to the football people. And I find football analytics really fascinating. There's been so many changes in the sport, a lot of changes, the way the game is played, not just on offense or defense, even on special teams, whether it's field goal kicking accuracy or when field goals are taken, fourth downs, and specifically with fourth downs pertaining to football analytics, the way fourth downs are handled and the way fourth down attempts on offense are played, it's changed a lot, and it's an evolving thing. And then the way football analytics is involved in that component, I think, has changed in a very positive way. And then that's the one that probably gets talked about the most, and for a lot of good reasons. But I think there's a lot of changes, to your point. All of the teams are really now, I think, doing more and more looking into numbers and research. And really, there always has been some analytics component. People just didn't want to call it that. And there's different words. You don't have to call it that if you don't like that word. You can call it whatever you want, but football stats. And
Research.
So much of the game is stats and research and looking at trends. And the game has changed a lot. The way the passing game has evolved and changed, and the way the run game has changed, and the way the quarterback run game has changed. And certainly, like I said, kicking has changed a lot, and I think analytics has had some component to that, but also how much more accurate kickers have gotten.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I really do think Liam Coen has you guys on the right track. I think it's well documented. You probably saw some tweets. I did not love the GM situation the last few years. That's all over. And so I really do think Liam Coen is the guy for you. Let's talk about AEW. I am a child of 90s wrestling, early 2000s wrestling. I have a photo, we'll get it up, of me being incredibly fat with Stephanie McMahon. I looked cartoonishly fat. But some of the stuff I've seen out of AEW, first of all, you wearing the neck brace in the draft room, I just, prayers up for you, obviously. It was an incredibly traumatic experience. But tell me, sell me on AEW and what you guys are doing right now. And just as somebody, me personally, who would I like in AEW right now?
Well, right now, AEW is fantastic. I think you're the kind of guy that likes the villains, frankly. It sounds like to me, knowing you, because I do know you, he kind of likes a good bad guy. I think you'd really enjoy MJF.
Okay.
And it's an exciting time for AEW because we're on Wednesdays on TBS and we're on Saturdays on TNT. And we've been a staple for years on cable on TBS and TNT. And we are. And I think it's important. Those are staples of the cable business and also, frankly, staples of wrestling. TBS and TNT. We grew up watching wrestling on TBS and TNT. And now AEW is on those channels every week. And now Wednesdays and Saturdays also, we also simulcast on Max. Just started last month. We've only been doing it for weeks, and it's a great run. And so many of the top stars in AEW just came back. Kenny Omega, who's one of the best wrestlers of all time, and a huge part of AEW in and out of the ring. He's an executive out of the ring, and one of the greatest wrestlers ever in the ring, and he's back. And it's great to have Kenny Omega back. And then Adam Copeland, who came in as a top free agent, two-time TNT champion, was on this amazing run as the TNT champion, broke his leg, the Rated R superstar, who was nominated for an Emmy for Percy Jackson.
Wow.
And is the first major pro wrestler, the Rated R superstar, to be nominated for an Emmy. And then we have like I said, top stars coming back from like doing other projects. We had Samoa Joe doing Twisted Metal. And Samoa Joe's a great world champion, one of the top stars of all time. And it's great to have him back. And also MJF, who was doing Happy Gilmore 2.
Happy Gilmore 2.
And he has a huge part in that movie. All these great wrestlers just came back. And I think, like, so you asked who you'd like. You like a bad guy, I think.
do.
So MJF, I think you'd be right up your alley.
Last thing for you. Resources, help, whatever it is, for Liam Coen's Duval. How are we fixing that? That was not...
I think it's been made crystal clear to him. And it wasn't like that was a big part of the process. I think but maybe
you should have asked. You should have vetted the Duval.
In hindsight, it's one of those details that I think, you can't go back and change history. So I think it's a fun thing. I loved it.
Okay, we'll get better. Only way is up.
It's a great clip.
That's
a great clip. Hey, it's good to see you, man. My birthday brother.
We have the birthday on October 10th.
Yeah.
Brett Favre as well. We don't mention that as much anymore.
Well, he was my childhood idol, and
mine too. But mostly for me, it was off the field. I just enjoyed.
Great.
For me, I just thought he was an amazing person.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I grew up as a huge fan. He was my favorite player growing up. He was my all-time favorite.
Post-career investment strategy. Just a big fan.
I was a kind of a chubby kid, and I had a Brett Favre.
Yeah, me too.
I was a Brett Favre. I know. I've seen. Me too. I'll show you. I'll show you here, and then when we get done. But yeah, I'm similar to you. And I had a Brett Favre jersey, and then I had the same one, and I wore it all through, and then I had it all through college. And I had it all for 16 years. I wore like the same jersey, but as a fat kid, I wore it as an adult because it was like the same size. So I was able to get like 16 years out of one shirt.
So that happened with me. I was so fat, I used to wear hockey jerseys around. And then as maybe 5 years ago, I found all the hockey jerseys and they fit me normally as an adult. And I was like, this is amazing. So if you've got a fat child, invest in like Buffalo Sabres jerseys.
If you are a heavy child, it loses weight, and if you slim down, maybe some of your childhood stuff you can still wear. To your point, my point, I guess, really.
Good point. Thanks,
buddy.
buddy.
It was good to see you.